Well, there's one you don't see very often. Duretti Scrap Savant, and we are playing Kykar Winds Fury with all but one of our pieces of coloured mana. I think we can keep that. We can actually go in for a turn 2 Jace, which means that, yeah, let's go in for a tap land there. And we'll try and surprise our opponent with a turn 2 Jace the Mind Sculptor. Hopefully they don't go in for Mana Crypt, Mountain, Wheel of Fortune. No, but they do go in for a Mana Vault on turn 1. So they can get down their commander next turn if they want to. So here we go for 2 blue, 2 colourless, and we'll go after a Brainstorm. And there's the land we wanted, so we'll get rid of Blasphemous Act and Gravitational Shift and pass the turn. So I think we're going in for Kykar next turn. And there's our opponent's commander. Let's see if they've got anything good to discard. It is a Mind's Eye and a Mycosynth Lattice. I would very much love to see the back of Mycosynth Lattice. Plenty of degenerate things you can do with that. Okay, we obviously knew what we were drawing into. Let's just see if we can get a better land. We don't have double white or red currently. There's that Blasphemous Act again that we don't care about. Don't care about the shift either. So we're just going for an island. And then we can play out Kykar and Sol Ring, can't we? And then with Sol Ring we can actually go in for the Talisman of Creativity. So that's quite good. Get ourselves a couple of spirits in doing that. Unfortunately can't get down the Ogre Battle Driver even if we sacrifice spirits, so let's just leave it at that. Could do with a shuffle effect to get rid of the stuff that we keep putting back on top. Going for the plus on Duretti again, so not minusing down and getting rid of the Mana Vault. I don't know if they've actually gotten into another land either. They get rid of the Chain Veil and Blinkmoth Urn. And clearly haven't gotten into another land off of that, so they just kept a 1-lander just because they had Mana Vault, which I suppose is fair enough. They did draw an extra 4 cards with Duretti and clearly didn't get into another land. So yeah, I think I would have played that myself, to be honest. But the fact that we got fast mana, we got off to an incredibly fast start, and they didn't get into any lands, yeah, pretty unfair matchup, but it happens. Let's try and get into a real game now. Alright, going for another game, and this time up against Gargos Vicious Watcher. We've got, we're on the control plan at first by the looks of it, and we can get rid of any turn 1 Sol Rings with Vandal Blast. So I'm fairly comfortable with this. Do want to draw into some ramp though. Okay, Teferi's Protection doesn't really do anything. Let's go for a Tundra. We can hold up Swan Song. Okay, now our opponent going in for, that is Proliferate or a plus counter. Yeah, I don't care about that. We can't counter it anyway. Okay, more counter magic in Disallow. Let's drop the Cascade Bluffs. We can make double blue with that. So we can go for almost all of our counter magic. They just decide to swing in at us with their 2-2. Not going to lose much sleep over that. I want to try and counter any ramp spells that they might have. The longer we can keep them off of Gargos, the better it is for us, but they're missing a land as well. Alright, let's go Shivan Reef and we'll just pay the life. We choose a target player first, then we pay for it. So we'll just pay the life on that and have a look at our opponent's hand. See if there's anything to actually hold up the counters for. Okay, there's a Biogenic Upgrade. A bunch of plus counters basically. Colossal Majesty. Yeah, that's card draw every turn. Curse of Predation. Plus counters again. And then that's a fight card. That is more plus counters. And an overrun is Trample. So not really much to worry about there. Well, we can still only hold up the counter magic. We really want to get into some ramp, but we're not managing it currently. Looks like both of us are struggling on lands. And in 13 turns, we're going down to this thing. So hopefully we can get out our Kykar to block with it pretty soon. If we get into a land here, I will just go for Kykar and forego the counter magic. Hold up the reveal zone actually so that we can keep track of what our opponent's played. Okay, Mystical Tutor doesn't particularly help us, I don't think. I think we have to just bin the Sphinx's Revelation. Alright, and this is Triumph. That will get their lands going. Search your library for up to 2 basic forest cards. If you control a Nissa Planeswalker, instead search for up to 3 land cards. So they can go for some basics there, which will put them ahead of us. I think we go Arcane Denial there. I don't want to switch them off entirely. So let's make some blue here. Yeah, and that'll minimise the amount of life loss that we take. Now they might draw into lands anyway, but it'll give us an additional draw as well with the Arcane Denial. Yeah, I wonder if it's worth... we'll go for Mystical Tutor here anyway. I was thinking of going for a wheel, but I think I'd rather just play the control game and try and drag this out as long as we can. So how about just Preordain? That ought to get us into a land. Be pretty unlucky if it didn't. Our opponent continuing to pummel us with the Elf Druid. And then our opponent's going to draw 2 cards here. We will draw 1. And we obviously draw into that Preordain. I'm just hoping for a land during our draw step here. Then we don't have to use the Preordain. We can go in straight for Kykar. And there it is. So that will do nicely. Go for Is It like that. Then Jeskai, Colourless. And there's our Kykar. We just have to hope that they haven't gotten into something like a Beast Within. They did get into a land off of that counterspell though. They've got 9 cards in hand. How many do we know about? We know about 6 of them. Where's that fight card? Not that one. It is that one. That is... yeah, that's 1 mana and it fights, so it doesn't put a plus counter on by itself. But that will put a plus counter on it. I'm assuming they enchanted us with that. Yeah, according to that, yeah, they have enchanted us with that, so they could have attacked in and traded us there. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't do that, because it's not like we were going to block with Kykar. Get into another land, that's really good, so we can go for that Preordain. And now we can hold up counter magic for these fight mechanics. Alright, Wasteland we don't care about. Generous Gift might be of some use to us. Yeah, I think we have to keep Generous Gift on top. And then we just continue to play during our opponent's turn, I think. They've got 11 turns to kill us off with that. We've got only 7 turns to kill them with that. So that is, yeah, we outrace them there. So I'm not going to worry about holding back the Kykar for blocking. We kill them faster than they kill us, thanks to commander damage. Alright, Karametra's Acolyte. Yeah, I really don't want them to have a lot of mana. They've got 4 mana now, so it's not like they're stuck at 2 still. I think I'm actually going to counterspell that. And that will get us into another Kykar trigger. Yeah, that's just too much mana for our opponent to have for my liking. And then there is that Curse of Predation that will... yeah, I think I might have to kill this thing off if it's going to go around fighting things. Although that will still leave them with a 3/3, so... might have to just counter the fight card. Let's chump that. And then we'll sacrifice it for red mana. Don't think we're going to use it. In fact, we're not going to use it because our opponent isn't doing anything. Okay, now we've gotten into some more white mana. That is handy. Yeah, we just carry on the way we were. Tap land from our opponent. They are 1 mana away from their commander. And what is that one? Look at the top 5 cards, reveal a creature and put it into your hand. I didn't notice that they've actually discarded the Titanic Brawl as well. They must have had to do that to hand size. Now a Colossal Majesty we did know about. And that's more card draw for our opponent, so I think I'll actually go for... Yeah, much as I don't like it, I think I'll actually... No, we'll hold up Swan Song for the overrun. Let's just go disallow on that. Although we want to counter there. Yeah, we'll go for Swan Song. I'm forgetting about the fact that Gargos might be coming down next turn. So we'll just have to give them a bird to block with next turn. It might be that they hold this back and start trying to put plus counters on it, which is going to be a problem for us. We'll have to generous gift the bird that we've given our opponent, which doesn't feel good. Yeah, so maybe generous gift onto the Curse of Predation is a good idea. We're just giving our opponent a bunch of creatures though here. So we'll block like that. And then, yeah, I think I'm going to generous gift on the Curse of Predation because it encourages our opponent to block with the bird, because they can't get any ideas of swinging in and making this bigger so that Kykar can't block it, or that it can block Kykar. But like I said, we're just giving our opponent a bunch of creatures here. Well, Cyclonic Rift deals with them though. Yeah, they might just scoop to a Rift. See if we get rid of the bird here by swinging in. And they do decide to block, surprisingly. I thought they might have held out to try and put plus counters on that, but deciding to just save themselves a bit of commander damage. And now our opponent has their Gargos. Now then, this doesn't do anything on entry, does it? No, I think we have to wrap that up in a Cyclonic Rift. So let's go sack a Spirit. And we'll go for the Rift. That will get rid of the elephant. It will allow them to replay this, unfortunately, but that's a big enough thorn in our side already, so it slows them down a little bit. They have to replay their commander. Okay, search for Azcanta. We can absolutely go for that. Start filtering our draws. And then it's a case of holding up Teferi's Protection and disallow whilst continuing to chip away at our opponent. Not a very eventful game, but this is what control games can be like in blue sometimes. Alright, and there is that Gargos again. Apologies, opponent. I know how tortuous it can be, but if I'm playing a control deck, we can't allow our opponent to get into things like Gargos. If they get into a land, they can replay it again next turn. Alright, now we have a look at the top with our Azcanta. And a Talisman can go in the graveyard. Bit too late for the Talismans now. And we will transform that because it's some nice card advantage for us. A Cantripping Ponder. Let's have a look at what's on the top three. Alright, there is... yeah, a couple of signets stuck together, or a couple of rocks stuck together. Let's go land Intangible Virtue, we don't mind drawing into. So I'm not going to shuffle, just because we've got that Virtue on top. We'll play the Intangible Virtue. And that should allow us to seal up the game in just a few turns, because it puts +1/+1 on our spirits. Not to mention the fact that they can be held back as blockers now, thanks to the Vigilance. Knocking our opponent down to 8, we're not taking them out on commander damage like I assumed we would. One more swing in next turn, and that should be us done. I don't imagine Mono Green will run too many colourless board wipes. But even if they do, we've got Teferi's Protection anyway, so we're probably winning this one next turn. Just see what our opponent does. Okay, going for Voracious Hydra. When it enters the battlefield, double the counters on it. Or it fights a target creature you don't control. Well, we'll encourage them to fight here. I think we win with the spirits anyway, but we'll just go for the Teferi's Protection anyway. And there they go. So let's go... yeah, we'll just go for the Teferi's Protection. I was thinking of holding up mana for the Azcanta, but we don't need to worry about that. So we phase out with the Teferi's Protection, and that means that the Hydra doesn't have anything to fight. Followed by this thing that probably proliferates our opponent's stuff. Don't suppose there's a difference between the plus counter and the proliferate in this instance. Then we phase back in, we draw into that land that we put on top. Let's just swing in, not waste any time. Our opponent's been very patient here, because it's been a very tortuous game for them to play through, I'm sure. So eventually get there by dragging out the game long enough. It is turn 11. Knock our opponent down to -9. Didn't even get them on commander damage. But that's just how Jeskai control decks play out, unfortunately. You just want to annoy your opponent long enough to drag the game out to a victory. So a big thank you to my opponent for playing it out, and hopefully you Jeskai fans got some enjoyment out of it. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.